last one to know, the last one to show. I was the last one you thought you'd see there. And I saw the surprise, the fear in his eyes, when I took his glass of champagne. And I toasted you, said, honey, we may be through, but you'll never hear me complain. Places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. And now she ain't ever coming back. Line 'em up, line 'em up, line 'em up, line 'em up. Knock 'em back, knock 'em back, knock 'em back, knock 'em back. Fill 'em up, fill 'em up, fill 'em up, fill 'em up. 'Cause if she ain't ever coming back, I'ma need some whiskey glasses. 'Cause I don't wanna see the truth. She's probably making out on the couch right now with someone new. Yeah, I'ma need some whiskey glasses if I'm gonna
she slammed the door, said it's over, then got lost. I need one she ain't climbed up in, that ain't played her favorite songs. Need some glass that we ain't fogged up, that her bare feet ain't been on. I need a hug that we ain't laid on, kiss until that sun came up. That's all that's wrong with this one. If you're looking, you're in luck. I need a new truck. Yeah, I need it right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Can't take another Well, she looked down over me. Yeah, I got a first-class ticket, but I'm as blue as a boy can be. Then I'm walking in Memphis, just walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Saw the ghost of Elvis on Union Avenue, followed him up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Now security, they did not see him, they just hovered around his tomb. But there's a pretty little thing waiting for the king down in the jungle room. When I was walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? They've got catfish on the table, they've got gospel in the air. Reverend Green, be glad to see you when you haven't got a prayer. But boy, you got a prayer in Memphis. Now Muriel plays piano every Friday at the Hollywood, and they brought me down to see her, and they asked me if I would do a little number, and I sang with all my might. She said, tell me, are you a Christian child? And I said, ma'am, I am tonight. Walking in Memphis, was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain.
Baby, last night was hands down one of the best nights that I've had, no doubt. Between the bottle of wine and the look in your eyes and the Marvin Gaye, then we danced in the dark under September stars in the pouring rain. And I know that I can't ever tell you enough that all I need in this life is your crazy love. If I never get to see the northern lights, or if I never get sports car up the coast of California. Oh, if all I got is your hand in my hand, maybe I could die.
2.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our pre-program. I would like to call up to the stage. It's me. Good way to start. Would you stand and join me in an opening prayer? Thank the Lord for this day. Our Father, we thank you for bringing us together today. We thank you for America and ask that you watch over our nation. Bless those who serve to protect and preserve her. For our community, the elected officials, candidates, volunteers, voters, and youth, we ask for guidance and wisdom so they can lead this country into the bright future our forefathers envisioned. In times of fear, chaos, and war, we will strive to stay on the path of trust, sound reasoning, and peace. We ask that you unite our hearts to be one nation under God. Empower us to speak boldly, sharing the truths of liberty and justice with the people around us. Equip us with the courage and strength we need to face this nation's challenges and overcome them. We ask that you bless the National and New Hampshire Federations of Republican Women in their work to elect, educate, and empower conservative women, as well as the men who encourage and generously support their success. Thank you for all you have given, and may we continue to show our gratitude by glorifying you in the work we have yet to accomplish. In the name of Jesus, amen. Now I'd like to welcome Honorable Jane Johnson to lead us in the pledge, so don't sit down just yet.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Please remain standing just a little bit longer and join me in welcoming a local music student from Manchester, Jordan Steiger, who will lead us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Jordan. And you may all now be seated. At this time, I would like for Jane Lane, one of our directors, to come and recognize some of our Federation dignitaries that are here today.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. We're very pleased to have some of our national and state and local Federation leaders, and we'd like to recognize them now. First of all, we are so pleased to have with us today the President of the National Federation of Republican Women, Eileen Sobczak. We also have a sister state president from the state of Minnesota, the president of the Minnesota Federation of Republican Women, Vicki Folish. Thanks for coming. Also from the National Federation of Republican Women Political Director, Terry Hauser. And the National Federation of Republican Women Youth Outreach Chair, Mariah Sophia. Thank you, ladies. On our state level, we have three former state presidents with us, of which I am one. Also, Representative Janine Nodder is a former state president. And Christine Peters is a former state president. And of course, our current president, who put all this together for us today, the president of the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women, Elizabeth Gerard. Several of our local club presidents are with us. The president of my own club, the Cheshire Republican Women's Club, is Jane Johnson. Yay, Jane. The president of the Nashua Area Republican Women's Club, Kimberly Allen. The president of the Seacoast Republican Women's Club, Sarah DeVito. And last but not least, the president of the Souhegan Valley Republican Women's Club, Donnie Hodgkins. These ladies work hard for you from the national, state, and local level, and we're so glad you're here supporting our clubs. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to recognize Janine Nodder to give us a list of the state dignitaries with us today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Lilac Luncheon. I'm the House Majority Whip, Janine Nodder, and I'm here to recognize our New Hampshire state senators, Ruth Ward and Carrie Gendro. Other state dignitaries include Senator Chuck Morse, Mayor George Hansel, Executive Counselor Joe Kenny, Hillsborough County Attorney John Coughlin, and New Hampshire Commissioner of Education Frank Edelblue. I know we have several state representatives in the room, so please rise. The state reps. Thank you. and any other elected officials. If you're in the room, please stand so you can also be recognized. Thank you very much.
And next, we have our National Committee woman, Juliana Bergeron, and she's going to recognize the, the party dignitaries. It's crazy.
I hope it's right. I think next time we do this, we should put all the names of people who need to be recognized into a bingo game, and some table could win their dinner. Anyway, I am here to recognize the state party dignitaries, starting with New Hampshire Chairman Chris Ager. Followed by Juliana Bergeron, National Committee woman. And National Committee woman, Committee man Bill O'Brien. Thank you. We also have the New Hampshire College Republican Chairman, Harrison Spaltoff, here. Alan Glassman, Treasurer of New Hampshire GOP, and Assistant Treasurer Jimmy McEachran. Area 4 Vice Chairman Conrad Schefter. We have Maine's new GOP Chairman Joel Stetkes here. My friend and fellow National Committee woman from Massachusetts, Janet Fogarty. And now is where it gets tricky. I have Vermont National Committee woman Jay Shepard, who is actually the committee man, but it's Vermont, who you never know. Sorry, Jay. And Merrimack County Republican Committee Chair Karen Testerman. So those are the dignitaries. I just want to take a moment to talk to you about the RNC, who has laid the groundwork for a win in 2024. Back in 2022 with our largest election integrity program ever. To beat Joe Biden and the Dems in 2024, we will need to combine the integrity program that we had with the Bank Your Vote initiative. The goal of the Bank Your Vote initiative is to encourage, educate, and activate Republican voters on where, when, and how to cast their ballot early. We need to close the pre-election voting gap that we have with the Democrats. And in New Hampshire, the only way we can help do that is by getting people to sign up for absentee ballots. I'm asking you to participate in this effort. Go to bankyourvote.com for more information or give me a call, and we will win in 2024. Thank you.
Next up, to welcome you to the City of Concord is Concord City Committee Chair Andrew Georgievitz.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Georgievitz, and I am the chairman of the Concord Republican City Committee, and I welcome you to the great city of Concord. It is a true honor to stand before you today in a room in Concord full of this many Republicans. When you think about the city, you don't always think about Republican representation, but you do think about the effort of the First in the Nation. The First in the Nation primary as a chairman is my utmost responsibility to protect. Whatever candidate comes to our state, we do our best to host and treat them with dignity and respect because they're putting their name on the ballot. So take the time to come to events after events after events and listen to every single candidate at least 4 times. But back to the city of Concord. It has been my privilege for the past decade to serve as the chairman, and it is my honor to be here before you today to be at the famous, infamously famous, Lilac Luncheon. Thank you all. Congratulations, ladies.
At this time, I'd like to introduce to you our National Federation of Republican Women President, Eileen Sobczak.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Eileen Sobjak. I'm the National Federation of Republican Women President, and it is a pleasure to be in New Hampshire at the famous Lilac Luncheon. Look at this sold-out crowd. Great job. And I am honored to be in the company of President Trump. Thank you, Mr. President, for being here today, for your strength and dedication to our great country. Your accomplishments as president were tremendous. It's a long list, and I am grateful for all that you have done. And thank you, Elizabeth Gerard, for inviting me. You and your team have organized the finest event yet. I appreciate your professionalism, your leadership in New Hampshire. You make the Republican women shine. The New Hampshire Republican women are incredible. They are energetic, smart, and beautiful. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, sorry, we're running behind now.
Okay. All right. I just want to say a little bit about the NFRW. We train, we educate, we empower women to be campaign strategists and politically active, and they are the best. This last cycle, NFRW members racked up 7 million hours, 4 million calls, totaling an astounding $232 million volunteer dollars that were contributed to Republican campaigns across the country. We do so much more. If you are not a member, you need to become one. You need to become an associate. Go to nfrw.org. Check us out on social media and YouTube. And ladies, we welcome you to attend our Oklahoma convention September 28th, October 1st in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Thank you.
Thank you. Here, grab your paper. Sorry. Next, we'll have some opening remarks by Steve Stepanek.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Steve Stepanek, former state representative, former NHGOP chairman, and currently senior advisor for President Trump. We are all here to support the NH Republican women as we move forward. The NH Republican Federation of Women is the leading Republican organization supporting women running for public office. In today's crazy world, where many of our leaders cannot define what the definition of women are, where after decades of fighting for equal treatment and support in sports as men have, women are now expected to compete with men and be happy when they lose. Where it is okay for men to share bathrooms, locker rooms, and even showers with women because they think they're a woman. More than ever, we need to support organizations like the New Hampshire Federation of Women. The funds raised today will go towards training and supporting biological Republican women who are the best advocates and the best defenders of women, young and old. On a more personal note, I am happy and proud to say that not only is my wife Ellen here, but my 96-year-old mother-in-law, Edith Kennedy, is here as well. Edith grew up in a Democratic Union town of Cohoes, New York, just north of Albany. Back in 2016, she proudly went into the Cohoes City Hall and changed her party affiliation from Democrat to Republican and has supported Donald Trump ever since. My nickname for Edith is Beautiful. Because she has such a beautiful personality and spirit, I am proud to call her my mother-in-law and my friend. I would now like to introduce a woman who has probably impressed me more than anybody else in recent memory. She is somebody I got to know a few years ago, and she's probably the hardest working person on the campaign trail I've ever met. And if it wasn't for somebody who vetoed a bill she would be our Congresswoman. But I am proud now to introduce Caroline Leavitt.
Hello, everybody. How are we today? Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Pleasure to be here in my great home state with each and every one of you. Big thank you to Elizabeth and the wonderful ladies at the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women, which really does uplift and invest and empower women like myself who step forward to put our names on a ballot. So thank you very much for a fantastic lunch today. And it is an honor to be here to welcome my former boss, our former president, and our future president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Now, the fake news back there is going to hate this. But who in this room knows we were a heck of a lot better off in our state and our nation with Donald Trump in the White House? They can't wrap their heads around why we support him, but we support him because we currently have the most incompetent, corrupt, and senile commander-in-chief this nation has ever had in sleepy Joe Biden. And we know we cannot afford 4 more years of this Biden regime. Joe Biden spent a decades-long career in public service and became a multi-millionaire by ripping off and selling out we the people, while Donald Trump spent a career as a billionaire businessman and gave it all up to fight for we the people, and that's the difference. And I will say, it's not just the corruption, it's the incompetent policies too. He's decimated our economy. Donald Trump reignited our economy, and he's ready to do it again. Joe Biden opened our border to illegal aliens and illegal Chinese fentanyl that is killing our fellow Granite Staters at record rates. Donald Trump is going to secure that border, implore the largest mass deportation operation in American history, and finish building that wall. And lastly, Joe Biden and the Democrats are coming for your children and your grandchildren. Donald Trump has pledged to protect them and ensure that men can never compete in women's sports here in the United States of America. That's ridiculous. Don't listen to the media back there or the billion-dollar war machine or the establishment chattering class in D.C. Donald Trump is the only candidate in this race with the record of achievements, the vision for the future, and the fortitude to stand up to the swamp. And we will send him back to the White House for another 4 years. Thank you. We love you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. And now I would like to introduce to you the extraordinary woman who made this historic lilac luncheon possible. She's the longest consecutively serving and youngest state president in the history of the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women. 4 years ago, when I led the nominating committee in our search for the next president, it was my mother, Nancy Elliott, who said, "You know, I met the most amazing young woman at a Trump rally." So we asked, and she agreed, and here we are all today. Through dramatically increased programs and opportunities, in spite of a worldwide pandemic, Elizabeth has raised more funds to benefit Republican women through this organization than ever before. She has amplified the voices of Republican women in the Granite State and beyond. Please join me in welcoming New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women's President, Elizabeth Girard.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 76th Annual Historic Lilac Luncheon. I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. As Christine mentioned, this is our most successful Lilac Luncheon to date. we have raised just over $90,000 that we will use towards electing Republican women candidates running for state and local office in 2024. NHFRW supports all of the men who support us, and there are a lot of you. I just want to give a very special thank you to former NHGOP Chairman Stephen Stepanek for all of his support of the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women. Thanks, Steve. I also would like to give a very special thank you to our NHGOP Chairman, Chris Ager, who's right here. Yes. Thank you, Chairman Ager, for your efforts to ensure that all Republican candidates feel welcome in the Granite State. The New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women welcomes all candidates to participate in the First in the Nation primary process within our organization. In addition to our major events this year, we started our First in the Nation Women's Voices series, which aims to elevate women's voices and connect our members to the presidential candidates. It has been a huge success and an incredible opportunity for our members to meet the Republican presidential hopefuls. In just 4 months, we have hosted Governor Nikki Haley, Senator Tim Scott, Vice President Mike Pence, Perry Johnson, Vivek Ramaswamy, Mike Rogers, Governor Asa Hutchinson, Mayor Francis Suarez, and Congressman Will Hurd for press-covered roundtables and exclusive membership meet and greets. We are so excited to be hosting President Trump today and look forward to welcoming Governors Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Doug Burgum, as well as all of the other presidential candidates who happen to throw their hat in the ring. The New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women has not, nor will we, endorse a candidate in the Republican presidential primary. Our members love the opportunity to meet and to listen to each presidential candidate. We know that the coming years will shape our country in ways the world has never seen. We know that the stakes could not be higher. The New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women are leading the way for conservatives across the Granite State and redefining the Republican Party. New Hampshire Republican women are mothers, daughters, businesswomen, educators, and young professionals who understand the issues that are most affecting Granite Staters. Whether it be the economy, mandates, parental rights, or any other issue, Republican women in New Hampshire are outspoken leaders, fearless voices, and active change makers. New Hampshire Republican women think for ourselves, speak for ourselves, and stand up for what's right, no matter how difficult that may be, and even when we have to stand alone. And let me tell you, you won't find a stronger sisterhood than these ladies. So many of the women in this room know what I mean when I say we often get asked the question, how can we, as women, be Republicans? I always ask, how can we not, when the other side wants biological men in women's bathrooms and in women's sports, when they prioritize indoctrinating our kids over educating them, and they believe any idea they don't agree with is hate speech. For whatever reason, they can't seem to find a way to have a civil conversation with a conservative, especially a conservative woman. It is so obvious that the Republican Party is the party of women because the Republican Party treats women as the leaders we are and not the victims the left wants us to be. The Republican Party values women and the contributions we make to our country. And by the way, the Republican Party doesn't want to replace us or our achievements with that of biological men. Believe me, I know it's not always easy to speak up as a Republican woman for fear of being shut down, canceled, or ridiculed. But it's really important that we do speak up, especially since the left will do everything in their power to silence us. We've worked hard as women to get where we are today. It was the Republican Party that fought for the women's right to vote, and it is the Republican Party that will once again now and for generations to come stand by women. We so often hear the phrase, we need to focus on women's issues. Now, I don't know what women's issues are. Just to be completely clear, Women care just as much about the economy and national security as we do about the issues of life, family, and education. All issues are women's issues. What we don't care about is the ever-changing issue of the day that the left wants us to get worked up about. Every day, there's some new woke idea that Democrats invent and Americans are expected to adapt. And if you don't accept it, you're labeled intolerant. Just when you think they can't get any crazier, they just keep going. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. If you had said a few years ago that the government would be attempting to ban gas stoves or penalize borrowers with good credit by making them pay the highest rates, or that concerned parents speaking up at school board meetings would be considered unhinged, people would have said, no, that's crazy. But we're here. We're at crazy. And we're the ones who have to do something about it. There is nobody left. We need to get everybody to go out and vote Republican. Freedom in this country is under assault by the left. While the Democrats seek to destroy the family unit and come for our privacy and our Second Amendment rights, the Republican Party will stand firm in its defense of American values. The Republican Party will be on the right side of history. We in this room are all so involved that we sometimes forget the majority of people don't follow politics like we do. It's imperative that we talk to those friends, neighbors, and family members who may not have voted with us in the past. There are people in all of our lives who may not realize that their values are actually Republican values. There are so many discouraged and dissatisfied voters out there. Let them know that if they're frustrated with inflation, the border crisis, the national debt, what's happening in our schools, then they need to go out and they need to vote Republican with us. Our organization exists to make sure women's voices are heard. And while we don't always agree on everything, we understand that we can have different opinions and still have a civil discussion. This is a free country, and we're American citizens. We can disagree about something and still reach a solution. That is the beauty of being an American. We can, however, all agree on one thing. The Democrats are destroying our country, and we need change. When we disagree with the other side or don't buy into the issue of the moment, we're accused of being intolerant or stuck in the past. The left claims to be the party of tolerance, inclusion, and compassion, unless, of course, you don't agree with their agenda. Knowing full well that the facts are on our side, the left name calls, threatens, and cancels because they can't do anything else. Freedom of thought and freedom of speech are frightening to the Democrats. That's why they label anything they don't agree with as disinformation. So please keep speaking up. Speak up whenever you have the opportunity. Speak up because the future of our country depends on you speaking up. I know each and every one of you in this room will continue to work hard to ensure the future of our country, and the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women will always support your efforts. We hear you. We stand with you, and together our voices are unstoppable. No matter what the left does, and no matter what anyone does, we will keep speaking up for what's right for New Hampshire and our nation, because we're Republican women, and that's what we do. Now, there's someone here today who epitomizes the courage to speak up in the face of adversity. During his 4 years in office, our country experienced unprecedented prosperity and recognition on the world stage. We are honored to have him speak today at the New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women's 76th Annual Lilac Luncheon. Now get those American flags out, and please join me in welcoming our special guest, the 45th President of the United States and presidential candidate, Donald J. Trump.
Where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Elizabeth, and congratulations on your tremendous leadership. You have done a fantastic job, and thank you. And I love you too. Thank you very much. And thanks as well to all of the Republican women of the great state of New Hampshire. What a great state. You put your heart and soul into fighting for our party and for our country, and it's a true honor, and it really is a great privilege and honor to address the legendary Lilac Luncheon at your largest event ever. I hear this is the largest one, and none of the candidates that follow me will top it. I'm pretty sure about that. Elizabeth didn't want to say, but the other ones don't do too well. This one did very well. I'm sure she'll be thrilled with that statement. I also want to recognize National Federation of Republican Women President Eileen Sobczak. Eileen, thank you very much. Where are you, Eileen? Thank you very much. Great job. New Hampshire House Majority Whip Janine Notter. Thank you, Janine. Great job. Thank you. Great job. State Senators Ruth Ward and Kerry Jondro. Thank you. Thank you very much. Former Senator Chuck Morse. Where's Chuck? Good man. Good man. Great guy. I wish I endorsed you. He says, me too. He's a good man. Another good man. Former U.S. Senator Bob Smith. Bob, thank you very much. And Mrs. Smith. More importantly, Mrs. Smith. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bob. Speaker of the New Hampshire House, Sherm Packard. Sherm. Thank you very much. Events Director, Christine Peters. Christine, thank you very much. Great job. My New Hampshire Senior Advisor, but really like my boss in New Hampshire, Steve Stepanek. Steve, thank you very much. And the chair of our Manchester City campaign, Chrissy Cantor and Caroline Levitt. Caroline and Chrissy, thank you both very much. Great. Two dynamos. Thank you very much. Great job. And a very special thanks to the great supporter and whose endorsement I'm very, very proud to have today. I just got to say hello to her again, Augusta Patron. Where is Augusta? Thank you very much, Augusta. I love that name. I love that name. That's a great name. Thank you. Thank you very much. Today I also have the honor of announcing the Lilac Bush raffle winners. Oh, she's going to like this one, Senator Ruth Ward. Did you know that? Kimberly Allen, Tom Aria, Janet Fogarty, Stacy Goodrich, Lou Gargiulo. Where is Lou? What a good guy Lou is. Tracy Johnson, Jennifer Lawplay, Al Fulcino, and Janine Nutter. Congratulations, that's great. That's good. I hope they give you something very nice. I don't know what they're giving you, but I hope it's going to be good. For 7 years, all of us have been fighting side by side to rescue our country from the sinister forces who hate it and who want to destroy it, and now we are approaching the most important battle of our lives. I believe this is the most important election we've ever had, maybe by far. I used to say that in 2016 and meant it. This is more important right now because our country is going to hell. On November 5th, 2024, we're going to stand up to the Marxists and communists, fascists and globalists. We're going to evict crooked Joe Biden. He is crooked as hell. You know, I took the name away from Hillary. I was crooked Hillary. And now I call her beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. But I figured that Joe was so deserving of it because I don't like to do it with two people, you know. Two people sharing a name is not good. But he's crooked Joe Biden. We're going to finish what we started, and we will make America great again, greater than ever before. We're going to do that. All of us here today are on a mission to liberate our nation from a corrupt Washington swamp that's destroying America for their own power. That's what they want, I guess, power and profit and personal gain. There's no better example than the most corrupt president in the history of our country. Joe Biden, he's the most corrupt president we've ever had. You see what's going on. And the fake news doesn't want to report it. They don't put it in the papers. This is 10 times bigger, 100 times. No, this is 100 times bigger than Watergate. And they don't want to report it for whatever reason. That's why they have no credibility at all. 5 days ago, the IRS whistleblower revealed that Crooked Joe sat in the room while his son Hunter messaged a Chinese Communist Party official, a leader, a very top person, and said, I quote, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled." In other words, where the hell is the cash? I think it is. It's not like they're doing anything for it. Oh, they are doing things for it. We just don't want to, they don't want to tell us. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this right now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. I never knew he was that tough. And if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, that's pretty high up, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me, my father, and every person he knows, you will regret not following my direction. I'm sitting here waiting for the call with my father. I mean, what the hell is going on? And the fake news doesn't want to talk about it. Within 10 days, the Biden got $5.1 million from China for doing absolutely nothing. But again, they did a lot. They did a lot. Joe Biden is a compromised president, and that's why nothing happens with China, because China knows how compromised he is. They have full control over our president. Once again, Trump was right. I've been right about a lot of things. Given the millions of dollars his family has received, it's no wonder Biden doesn't seem to mind that China has opened military installations. This is not even believable. In Cuba, 90 miles off our coast. Think of this. China is now building military installations in Cuba, and Biden doesn't want to talk about it. When I get back in, I will inform China that they have 48 hours to get any military and spy equipment the hell out of Cuba. Or there will be taxes and tariffs placed on their billions and billions of dollars of things that they send into us like they've never seen before. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in 10 cents. Biden wants to do nothing. The reason he wants to do nothing is because he can't. He can't. He's totally compromised. He's owned by China. Biden is owned by China. Think of it. We have a president, and that's just one of the five. That's 5.1 million, but there's many more from many different countries. Remember during the debate where I said, why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give you $3.5 million? And he couldn't answer the question. And then Chris, do you remember Chris Wallace? He wants to be his father, but he had no talent. Remember Chris Wallace? He always wanted to be Mike Wallace, but he had no talent, you know. Mike Wallace was his father. Mike Wallace was great. Mike Wallace did me on 60 Minutes. That was when it really meant something. Mike Wallace was great, but Chris said, you shouldn't be asking him a question. I said, why? He said, well, that's not pertinent to the debate. I said, I think it is. The mayor of Moscow's wife handed them a check for $3.5 million. What's it for? And Biden was so happy that he was saved from having to answer that because there was no explanation for it, and there still isn't. No, people don't even talk about that one anymore, but you can add that to the long list. You can't drain the swamp if you're part of the swamp, and Joe Biden and other opponents, many of them are owned, controlled, they're bought, and they're paid for 100%. They're controlled. Our country is controlled by other countries. Right now, the lobbyists and special interests are pouring hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into futile attempts to stop our movement. They are fighting me. They even tried to have me arrested. I'm a candidate. I said, wait a minute, I'm a candidate. You're arresting a candidate? Yeah, because you're leading. That's why we're arresting. If you were losing or if you weren't a candidate, we'd have no problem. But they don't like it when we're leading, and we're leading by a lot. Because they know that I'm the only candidate. They know that I'm the only candidate in this race who they will never own and they will never control. That's why this is not good. This is why they suffer from a thing called Trump derangement syndrome. Have you ever heard of that? I have, unfortunately. I've heard a lot about it. But they do suffer from that. It's a very, very rare but very potent sickness. These are sick people. I don't put Washington, D.C. first like they do. I put America first every single time. I put America first. This election will be the end of the world for the corrupt political class in our nation's capital. And I now know them. You know, I had experience like nobody has had experience. When I went to Washington, I was there 17 times, it was reported. Never slept over, never stayed over. It wasn't my place. It wasn't my world. But it's my world now. I got to know it better than anybody. I know the good ones. I know the weak ones, the bad ones. I know the strong ones. I know them all. I know the smart ones. I know the dummies. We got great people. And we've had great. Look, we rebuilt our military. Largest tax cuts in history for this country. We did so much, and we had great people. But we had some people that I wouldn't have used. I had to rely on some rhinos. Could you give me a little advice? Who'd be good for this or that? And some rhino would give me a name, and then I wasn't happy with them. Then I'd fire them, and they'd say, well, that wasn't nice. He fired. But when people can't do the job for our country, I want to fire them. America is tired of being ruled by radical bureaucrats in Washington, and we are done with the likes of the Bidens and the Clintons and the Obamas and the radical left Democrats, the Marxists. Guys like Paul Ryan and Karl Rove, we're so tired of these people. We're so tired of them. I promise you this, if I am going to be victorious, and I feel so strongly about it, my biggest thing is we got to be very careful during election period. We used to say election day, right? But now some of these election days are 60 days long. But that's the biggest risk because they cheat like hell. But I promise you this, you put me back in the White House, their reign will be over, and it'll be over quickly, and America will be a free nation once again. Once again. When I'm back in the Oval Office, I will totally obliterate the deep state. And there is a deep state. I used to say, I don't know, is there a deep state? It's far more vicious than anybody understands. That's why they do this stuff with me. These fake prosecutors, right? Deranged people. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to investigate the Biden bribery and crime ring. You know, we have a long-time statute of limitations. We will achieve complete independence from China. I will work to ban federal employees from taking jobs at companies that they regulate. These guys, they regulate companies, and all of a sudden you see they're not regulated. They're giving the companies everything, and then they retire. Congratulations, they give them a little watch. They send them on away, and 2 days later they announce, I happen to be working for, I won't mention names, like Raytheon or this one. But I happen to be working for Big Pharma. I was given a great job. Oh, how much are you getting? Well, they pay me approximately $1.5 million a year. Oh, that sounds good. Great job. No, it's very sad what's going on, but we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. You can't go, you regulate companies, you're not going to work for them because even honest ones are influenced, and they're influenced too much. That means no more revolving door between Big Pharma and the FDA. The FDA guys, they go into Big Pharma. And on day one, I will reissue my 2020 executive order restoring president's authority to tell rogue and corrupt bureaucrats, you're fired. Did anybody ever say, you're fired, get out, get out, get out, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Nobody's ever seen The Apprentice, right? How great was that? Wasn't that great? People still say it. You know, there's a debate going on because the guys that did Mark Burnett, they're great guys, they did The Apprentice. And our enemies, opponents, they blame sometimes Hollywood for having created that. Without The Apprentice, they think I wouldn't have been president. And a lot of people, and I put it to a vote, and I say, well, you know, they chose me for The Apprentice because I was famous and doing well and stuff. And so I'm not sure about that. I was never able. What do you think? If I didn't do The Apprentice, do you think I still would have been president? Okay, so who says no? Who said The Apprentice without, you know, look, it's not an insult. It was a great show. It went, I mean, #1 a lot of times. I mean, that thing had tremendous, tremendous success. Remember that first season, it had 42 million people watching it for the finale. You remember that? Rancic and the whole group, Bill Rancic and everybody, names from the past. But who thinks, okay, so without The Apprentice, would I have been president? With The Apprentice, what do you think? How important, in other words, how important was The Apprentice? No, okay, it's very, she said she's never seen it. That's like, I don't know, I think I'm not insulted by that. She said, all right, well, it's just a little rumor that goes around. They blamed this guy, Jeff Zucker, who got fired at CNN. I got him his job, and then he got fired, but it took too long to fire him. How about CNN? We did the CNN town hall. Did anybody see it? So it was a ratings bonanza for them. I did it because I was going into enemy territory, but they get lousy ratings. And so I'm sure, oh, there goes their camera. Their camera just went off. Who cares? Their camera just went off. The little red light, and all of a sudden, what happened to that red light? But you know what? So CNN, so I walk in, and I could see the level of hostility was incredible. But think of it. They fired the head of CNN, and he had the highest rated show in 11 years. It's supposed to work the opposite. This world is really screwy. Open borders, no voter ID, fire a guy who just got great ratings. They fired him because he got great ratings. No, but that was a good show, though, wasn't it? Did we do a good job? I think so. I think so. That was hostile territory. They asked 39 different questions on 39 different subjects from 39 different places all over the world. Do you think Biden could have done that? I don't think so. And the level of hatred and hostility from that particular anchor was not good. This was not a healthy situation, was it? Today, I'm proposing another new policy that will help us drain the swamp. To stop Biden's wasteful spending and crippling inflation, I will fight to restore the president's historic impoundment power. A lot of you don't know what that is. For 200 years, the president had the right to block unneeded spending and return the funds directly to the Treasury. They stopped that. Congress unconstitutionally probably attacked the impoundment power in 1974, but it will come back. We're going to bring it back, and we will squeeze the bloated federal bureaucracy, and we'll, instead of just having to just spend it, we're going to reduce our debt. We would have reduced our debt with the oil. You know, we were doing so well with oil. We were energy independent. We're going to reduce your taxes further, and we're going to pay down debt. We were going to become bigger, much bigger than Saudi Arabia. We're going to become bigger than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. We're going to reduce the hell out of the debt and reduce your taxes further. You already got the biggest tax cut in history, bigger than the Reagan tax cut. But the most important step in truly draining the swamp is to end the weaponization of the Justice Department and the abuse of law enforcement, to stop political dissent. As you know, 2 weeks ago, crooked Joe Biden ordered his top political opponent arrested. Oh, who is that opponent? Oh, it's me. Oh, fool. Right in the middle of a presidential campaign that his opponent is winning by a lot. Think of this one. This wasn't in the book. This wasn't in the playbook. But because the public is really smart, my numbers went up. I got 2 of them. And then they put their top guy, into the New York DA's office. And think of this. They took a person from Washington, federal, and they put him into a local office to see whether or not they could indict me, and that's another fake indictment. And my numbers went up there too. But can you imagine? So Garland's top guy was let go and put into that office to make sure everything worked out well. Do you think I have a nice life? Is this fun? I had such an easy life before this crap. But we're going to make our country so great, it's going to be worth it, because this stuff doesn't hold up, and people know it. There could be others coming, like for a perfect phone call. Numbers will keep going up. I don't think a thing like that's ever happened before. And this has never happened before. Weaponization like this never happened before. This is the continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. That's all it is. And its primary purpose is election interference, and we're not going to let this election be stolen from us. This is a form of rigging the election. Because they rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. And you know, some people said the other day, I read something, well, you know, Trump has these things, and he's got all... You don't understand one thing. If somebody else, let's assume somebody else took this position, because we're leading by a lot. I mean, I'd have to work really hard to blow this one. Even the fake news knows that. But let's assume somebody else took this position. They'd go after them just as tough or tougher. They're crooked people. They fake dossier, all of the fake stuff. They spied on my campaign. These are crooked people. These are sick people. And they will do the same thing to whoever it may be. And people say, I'm going for Trump because he's the only one we know that can take it. And there's truth to that. Even you might admit that, Carolyn, right? No, but no matter who it is, you could take the most innocent candidate. He'll say, oh, thank you, this is such a great honor. 2 days later, remember when I was first elected, not a day had gone by. I think it was about an hour after that. We will be impeaching him. And they said, for what? We don't know yet, but we'll figure something. They ended up impeaching me over a perfect phone call. Congratulations on winning. That was a call to Ukraine. And when they asked Zelensky, which I respect, I tell you what, I get along with him, get along with Putin, I'd have that war. It would have never happened under me. Never, ever, would have never happened. But I'll have that war settled in 24 hours. And it won't even be a tough one by comparison to other things. But it's, you know, it's pretty amazing when you look at the things that we've done, and we've done them together. And this has been an incredible state with incredible love, people like Steve, who I've known so long, but just incredible love with new fans and new people that have really come to the fore, and we appreciate it, Carolyn. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a badge, a great, great, beautiful badge of honor and courage. Because I'm being indicted for you. And I believe that you is far more than 200 million people that love our country, not the 75 million people that we got. That's what they said we got, okay? Somebody said, you know, for a guy that got 80 million votes, okay, he didn't get 80 million votes. For a guy that got 80 million votes, you know, when they see, like today, I saw the hats, I saw the this, I saw everything. I see scarves with Trump, Trump, win, win, you won, I saw 100 different things. And he said, the guy got 80 million votes. Nobody's ever seen a hat saying Biden. It's true, I never thought of it. Look at a beautiful woman here, Trump. They're all Trump, 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 Trump. Trump, we drive you crazy. Look at her. Look at that beautiful. No. You go to a Biden rally, nobody shows up. Remember the circles, those beautiful circles? That was the best thing, that those circles were so professionally done. If I ever need a good painter, they were, but they'd have 8 circles. They couldn't fill them up. They had to get the fake news to fill them up. They couldn't fill them up. But think of it. Did you ever see a Biden, anybody walking around with a Biden cap? This is the #1 selling hat in the history of the world. There's never been a hat that sold like this whole thing. Whether it's MAGA or Make America Great Again or Trump 1, they have a lot of them, Trump 1. People walk around, but they don't walk. I've never seen a hat. Has anybody, raise your hand, has anybody seen one person wearing a hat saying Biden anything? Anybody? Because I really don't think I've seen one. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Brandon, you know what? Maybe the press would wear one. No, the press doesn't even wear them. Never forget, our enemies want to stop us because we are the only ones who can stop them. And if these corrupt persecutions of our people succeed, they will complete their takeover of this country and destroy your way of life, and it'll be destroyed forever. You're never going to be able to come back. This country is so far down right now. We're really, truly a failing nation. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. And they want to silence me. True. They want to silence me because I will not let them silence you. That's what's happening here. It's an amazing thing, and it's a great honor for me. I have to be honest, it's a great honor. And when I see those poll numbers like I saw today, Morning Consult just came out with a great one. Anselm just came out with a great one. They don't love me, but they just came. You know, there's only so much they can do, right? But in the end, they're not after me, they're after you, and I'm just standing in their way, right? We know that. It's no wonder the swamp is getting truly desperate as they see us leading with these kind of margins that very few people have ever seen before. The new Morning Consult poll, just out like literally 20 minutes before I came up, 57% for President Trump. DeSanctimonious at 19%. He's heading. Question is, when will he go to 3rd place? Somebody said, how come you only attack him? I said, because he's in 2nd place. Well, why don't you attack others? Because they're not in 2nd place. But soon, I don't think he'll be in 2nd place, so I'll be attacking somebody else. You know, like we're intelligent people. Let's attack the one in 2nd. We don't have to attack the one in 3rd, Steve, right? Steve told me that. Don't attack 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th. Worry about 2. As they keep coming up to 2, we keep sending them back to the dry cleaners, right? In last week's Big Village poll, we lead the field by 41 points, with us at 56 and DeSantis at 15, and Nikki Haley at 4, and Tim Scott, who happens to be a very nice guy, actually, at 3%, and Mike Pence at 2%. Actually, Vivek is Ramaswamy is leading most of our candidates. And you know why? Because he says Trump is one of the greatest presidents in the history of our country. And I said, I like that guy. I like him. I said, are you sure he's running against me? You know, that's a pretty severe statement, but he's very good. He's actually a pretty good guy. In a recent CBS poll, we have 61% of the Republican primary vote. Think of that. In the Harvard-Harris poll that just came out, we have a 25-point increase from January. 25 points, not percentage, points. That's big. In New Hampshire, we have a 47% to de sanctimonious with 13%. And by the way, he's holding an event right now, which is considered not nice, you know, because candidates go through. It's not really nice, but he's holding an event right now to compete with us. There's only one problem. Nobody showed up. So he's having a little problem explaining that. And I'm proud to say we're polling especially well among women, very well among women. You know, they always say, oh, women. Women. How are you doing with women? Women want security. Women want a strong border. Women want low taxes. They want good education. They want good schools. They don't want to have all this gender cutting up their children things. They don't want to have, as an example, men in women's sports. You know, you're seeing those records. Remember, I used to talk about it a year ago. I'd say women and men, and I'd imitate the weightlifter, and I'd imitate the swimmer, talk about the swimmer, that he won by so much that the young woman suffered horrible, horrible wind burns, right? I tell these stories, you know. She suffered greatly with the wind by him going so fast by her. The wind was so strong that it hurt her. No, it's very unfair, and it's actually very demeaning to women. You got to see the weightlifting ones. You have to see the weightlifting ones. This guy gets up, he never lifted before. Have you lifted before? A young woman almost broke the record. She was an eighth of an ounce away. And this guy walks up, thank you very much. Have you lifted before? No, I haven't. Bing. You know, the whole thing is crazy. And it's very demeaning and very bad for women, and it's going to be ended. And we ended it, and then these guys came in and they started it up again. Who would think of this, though? Who would think that that's a good thing, right? Who would think that that's a good thing? Who would think, when I always say, you know, I have to say it now because it's a factor, we will protect parental rights. Who the hell wouldn't protect parental rights? Why would you even have to say that, right? You know, why do you have to say that? In one recent poll of Republican women, it was Trump 54% to DeSantis at 16. That's an abbreviation for de sanctimonious. Most of you have figured it out. The ones who haven't figured that one out probably wouldn't be in this room very long. And we're leading Biden by a lot. We're up by 3 points in the Morning Consult. We're up by 7 points in the Harvard-Harris. And together, we're up by actually 11.5 points in another one that just came out. Together in, how the hell does this guy get votes anyway? But don't forget, I won't say groups, but they have this group, that group, that group, that group, and that group. So they start off with like a base of 35%. We have to win the whole East Coast to catch up. And that's what we did more than once. We did it twice, but now we're going to have to do it a third time. Together in 4 incredible years under our administration, we delivered the largest tax cuts and regulatory cuts in history. And the regulatory cuts were more important than the tax cuts. A lot of you wouldn't know that, only the people with businesses, but that's what created this incredible job situation that we had. And likewise, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. There's never been an economy like the economy we built. And so many people, even people today came up, thank you, sir, for what you did. My business has been flourishing. And, you know, unfortunately, see, they're running on the fumes of what we did. That's why, I mean, it's not disastrous. It is actually, people feel disastrous, like 80% negative. Nobody's ever had a vote like that, that the sentiment is 80%, 81%, 82% negative. But the fact is, everything they have is they're running on the fumes of what we built because we had something that nobody's ever done before. But those two things go hand in hand. We achieved energy independence and energy dominance for the first time in 60 years. And I believe longer than that. We had gas prices at $1.87 a gallon, and we had them lower than that, actually, for a period of time. After years of bitter betrayals of New Hampshire workers, I ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever, ever, ever made. It was so horrible. It was so embarrassing. You know, when they signed the NAFTA deal many years ago, they had typos, and the typos were very bad typos, you know, like different percentages and things, always in our disfavor. And instead of having them replaced and say, excuse me, we made a deal, they just paid them. This went on for 30 years. They could have fixed them, but they didn't bother. They had actually typos, and or however you might call it, where like 12% is 14% or 16. Probably weren't typos. They were put by the other side, but our people didn't know what the hell they were doing. And we replaced it with the USMCA. That's Mexico, Canada, the best trade deal ever made for our country. fact, that deal was so good that Mexico and Canada are now trying to renegotiate it with the wonderful Biden administration. Don't do it. Don't do it, Joe. Don't do it. How much money did Canada and Mexico give to Joe? Because that's the way you'll determine whether or not he's going to make a change. Has Hunter gone to Mexico recently? Has he gone to Canada? I stood up to China like no administration has ever done before, bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury from China when no other president brought in anything. They never even talked about the subject. I alerted people to the dangers of China. Before me, nobody knew China was doing numbers on us. They took out so much money. What they were doing to us was terrible. Ron DeSantis opposed my China tariffs very strongly. And very simply, he sided with the communists in China as I fought for the workers of America. He fought very hard. He fought a lot of things, you know. We have clips of him. We'll use them at the appropriate time, but we have clips of Ron where he had a closed state. We will close our state. He was closed. Now he says, oh, we're so open. He wasn't open. There were some governors like Henry McMaster, because I didn't make anybody close. It was a federalist program. The Democrats all closed. Some governors closed. Some governors closed for a short time. Georgia was closed a little bit for a short time. They did a very good job. If you look at South Dakota, Christie did a very good job. She was open. She kept it open. And some others, they did a very good job. But Ron was actually strongly closed. Remember, he closed the beaches, closed the highways. He didn't want anybody on those highways. Remember, those highways were closed. We want everybody locked in. He would make very threatening speeches, you know. I think he's a tough guy. But then all of a sudden he's campaigning, I didn't close. And the media, the fake news goes with him. Well, you know, he kept it. He didn't do that. And he loved Fauci. You know, he loved Fauci at the beginning. He thought he was great. He says, I have statements about him with Fauci that are just like, frankly, devastating. He liked them a hell of a lot more than I did. And when China targeted our farmers and lobstermen, I gave them $28 billion straight out of the tariffs that China was paying. And Ron DeSantis totally opposed it, but we overrode his opposition. I mean, so, you know, your lobstermen and all, and Maine especially. I mean, it's, anybody from Maine here? Maine? Oh, what? Like, it's not that many, but you know what I'm saying. I opened it up. I opened that up, and it's amazing. I made a deal with the European Union to eliminate tariffs on American lobster, the first EU tariff reduction of any product in over 28 years. I also opened up 5,000 square miles of ocean that your favorite president, other than me, Barack Hussein Obama, had closed to New England fishermen. We created the most secure border in U.S. history. We had the strongest border. Think of it. 3 years ago, we had the strongest border in history. By the way, when I say three, you know, I used to say two, and I used to say one. Now I say three. We're almost there. That means we're almost there, right? Hey, we're almost there. We're very close. 6 months, a little more than 6 months, we're going to have our first primaries. And I kept you in that number one spot. Iowa, New Hampshire, we kept it the way it's been for a long time. A lot of people fought me on that. I said, nope, we're keeping New Hampshire right where it is. That's where you want to be. I would have had a hard time with Steve if I did. Steve would have said, sir, I like you very much, but I'm resigning. But he didn't have to worry about that, right, Steve? We took care of it. But we kept you right where you were, and a lot of people Republicans wanted to change. The Democrats did change. Built nearly 500 miles of border wall, got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. I said to him, if you charge us for the soldiers, I'm going to charge you tariffs on all the cars that you're sending in, and we're going to make a very substantial profit. Negotiated, remain in Mexico. Remain in Mexico. We wanted people to remain in Mexico, not remain in the United States until we approved them, and many of them couldn't be approved because they were prisoners, they were convicts, they were people from mental institutions, implemented rapid deportations with Title 42 and terminated the ridiculous catch and release program. That was where you catch somebody and then you release them into our country. I mean, you're caught. Okay, let me have your name. So they give the name. My name is Juan Gonzalez. Hello, Juan. Good. Okay. Any criminal records? Oh, You've been very bad. Okay. Juan, thank you very much. Would you please report back in 4 years? We have a trial coming up for you, Juan. Thank you very much. Enjoy your life, because you never see them. They're gone. They never come back. 1% of the people come back, and those are the people that aren't too smart, okay? We appointed nearly 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade. Nobody thought that was going to happen. I fully rebuilt the U.S. military, created Space Force, defeated ISIS. We totally defeated ISIS. I was told it couldn't be done. Did it in 4 weeks. And brought our troops back home. We brought them back home. Remember when Hillary was screaming, he will get us into World War III. Because my personality said, no, my personality is going to keep us out of wars. We didn't start any war. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. I got us out of the wars. And I imposed a powerful travel ban to keep radical Islamic terrorists and jihadists out of our country. And take a look at those 4 years. You didn't see anything, did you? It's pretty amazing. But all of that was only the beginning, and here is just some of the very bold agenda that I will immediately implement when we, as a group, when we become president of the United States. It's going to be us, because I'm doing it as a group. It's a big group, too. It's a group that's far bigger than the fake news understood. They had no idea. They never saw. When 2016, they said, what the hell is happening here? They saw people coming in with the bandanas that were bright red and the hats and the whole thing, and they said, what is going on? Started with Tennessee. Tennessee was a very early state. The lines were like 4 miles. It has early voting. I'd like to see one-day voting, by the way, all over. One day. One-day voting, paper ballots, voter ID, no mail-in except for faraway military and people that are truly sick. And you're going to have honest elections again. You'll have honest elections. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine totally settled. If it's not settled, they said nobody's talking about settlement. They're not even talking about it. People are being killed at a level far greater than they report. You know, when you see those cities being bombed to hell, I mean, they're just being bombed, those massive buildings. They're big buildings coming down. And then they say one person was injured slightly. No, hundreds of people are killed every time. You have hundreds of thousands of people killed. That war is a nasty, horrible war. They're destroying the country. They're destroying the people. Hundreds of thousands of people. You're going to be seeing a number like so much greater than you have any idea. And for no reason, because I would get that settled. I know both people very well, and I will get that settled in 24 hours. These guys keep saying, oh, that's not possible. It's very possible. In fact, we have done a lot tougher things than that. But it would have never started. It should have never started. The country is blown to hell, and the people, you know, hundreds of thousands of people are dead or very horribly wounded without the legs or without the arms. It's a horrible, horrible thing. Literally no hospitals to help them. I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. And we're very close to World War III. We're very close to World War III. I will immediately end Biden's war on American energy, which is the stupidest war. When he got in, he drove the energy prices way up, including your electric bills. Most expensive energy in the entire country is right here. But drove up your energy bills, your gasoline prices. So when you drive it up, that would be a good time to drill, right? No, that's when he decided there won't be any more drilling. We're going all electric, by the way, even though California has blackouts all over. They just announced today another big blackout all over. Now we're going to, on top of everything else, we're going to load up your cars with electric. And you know what? I think electric cars are wonderful. I think they're great. But you know what? Some people don't want them. They want to be able to drive for more than an hour and 12 minutes. They'd like to drive to the country to see mom and dad, but the drive is an hour and a half, and the electric doesn't make it. I thought of this the other day. Nobody told me this. I think of a lot of things. You know the greatest industry in the world to invest in right now? If this happens with electric? The tow truck industry. I said, you know, it's a great time. I think I'll do that. I won't do this. I'm going to go up and buy 2,000 tow trucks. I'm going to make a fortune. You ever see the cars? They're being towed all over the place. After Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, which I approved, and passed a $20 billion tax hike on American energy where they just got rid of all their jobs, gas prices in New Hampshire are up 53% in just a short period of time. Oh, but they're going much higher. And your state has some of the highest electricity costs anywhere in the nation. In fact, parts of your state have the highest cost. I will quickly be able to cut that in half. I'll have it down so fast. I'll get it down very fast. I'll also pass landmark legislation to be known as the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. If India, China, or any other country hits us with a 100% or a 200% tax or tariff on American-made goods, which they do, we will hit them with that same tariff or tax, exactly the same, right back. It's called reciprocal. It's a reciprocal tax. If they charge us, we will charge them. If they tariff us or tax us, we will tariff them or tax them. And you know what will happen when we do that? One of two things. Either they'll just say, look, forget it, it's too complicated to collect the tax, or we'll be getting a fortune. We'll make a fortune because we'll be getting the same kind of tax that they, and we've been doing, we did great trade deals. We did so many great, then we got stymied with the COVID. When COVID came in, we had to fight that battle. It was a totally different battle. We did an incredible job with that, and we actually gave back a stock market that was higher than it was just before COVID came in. I had a meeting with some very top political people and pollsters. It was one day before the China virus came to our shores, and we're talking about the election, which was starting to get close. And they said, sir, if George Washington came back from the dead and he brought Abraham Lincoln along with him as his VP candidate, they could not beat you. You are so, it's impossible what you've been able to do. And then the next day, literally the next day, we got hit with this thing that nobody had ever heard about. Nobody had ever heard about it, seen it. Nobody thought it was even possible. And we figured it out. We did a really great job. I always said, you know, I've gotten a lot of credit for a lot of things, but we never got enough credit for that. Operation Warp Speed, a lot of the things that we did were incredible, including Regeneron, and some of the therapeutics were absolutely incredible. But nobody had ever seen anything like this. Killed millions and millions of people all over the world. Unlike Ron DeSanctimonious, who voted to gut Medicare and Social Security and voted 3 times to raise the retirement age, I just found out today they think he actually voted 6 times. 6 times. Against Social Security. You can't do that. Would anybody here, I see some people that could be prime, you look much younger than that, but would anybody here mind if they cut the hell out of their Social Security? Please raise your hand if you wouldn't mind. There's one guy. Oh, there's one beautiful woman. Oh, she said I was only kidding. Okay. No, it's not fair. You earned it, right? You earned it. And now they want to cut it. He wants to cut it. One thing about a politician, I know very well, their initial thought is always what they go back to. Like if you have a never-Trumper, usually they're always a never-Trumper. I mean, you know, when I won, I had a lot of never-Trumpers. Sir, I admire you so much. I love you, sir. I love you, sir. But you're a never-Trumper. No, I've changed. But as soon as things get a little bit tough, those never-Trumpers are gone. They stick with what brings them. And, you know, it's very interesting with Social Security. When a guy votes against Social Security and votes for the minimum age raise, you know, there are many other things we could do. We don't have to do that. For instance, we could increase our world by the gold that we have under our feet. It's gold. The oil is gold. We have it, China doesn't. And we have more than any other country. You know, we have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. And we don't use it. I call it liquid gold. What we could do with that. We don't have to do this to Social Security. And we don't have to do it to Medicare. But when a guy wants to cut Medicare, that's DeSantis. Wanted to cut it. Officially, as a congressman, wanted to cut it. And when he wants to cut Social Security, you can bet. Now, I don't know what he's saying about it now, but he's probably saying, we will defend. You can bet he'll be doing it later, and he'll be doing it to you. It always happens. I mean, I've seen it almost 100% of the time. It's what their original thought is. I will always protect Medicare and Social Security just like I have. For our great seniors, nobody's ever heard me say, and I ran, you know, in some pretty good races, and nobody has me saying I'm voting against Medicare and Social Security to stop the Marxist prosecutors who release rapists and murderers while persecuting conservatives and people of religion, Catholics. How about Catholics? How would a Catholic ever vote for Joe Biden when there's actually an assault on Catholics? I mean, I don't know how many Catholics are. Who's a Catholic in this room? How would anybody as a Catholic, because specifically Catholics are targeted by the FBI and the DOJ, and then you're supposed to vote for Joe Biden? It doesn't make sense. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical district attorney and an AG and a DA, okay? Attorney generals all over the country. They're crooked as hell. A lot of them are really bad. They said one in New York with me. I will get Donald. This one in New York campaigned against me. I will get Donald Trump. Do you know anything about him? No, I don't, but I will get him. It's an incredible phenomenon that's taking place. I will immediately terminate every open border policy of the Biden administration. It's all open borders, open borders. Let them come in. Under Biden, other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane asylums, mental institutions, dumping everyone, including mass numbers of terrorists, into our country. They're in our country now. And they have no shame. They just let it happen. And I think the real number of people coming in, you hear 3 and 4 and 5 million. I think it's 15 million by the end of this year. I think it's going to be 15. You watch, I'll be right about that too. People are pouring in, and nobody's even watching. And they are coming in from mental institutions. And a story I tell just quickly is that a psychiatrist, very highly respected guy, he was sitting reading a newspaper in a psych ward in a Latin American country. And he said, I've always worked 24 hours a day. I'm the hardest worker, but we have no patients left. They've all been put into the United States. And he wasn't saying it as a wise guy. He's just saying, we don't have any patients. Our patients have already, they've been let, and some of these people, he said, are very, very sick. These people have been taken out of the institution and he's saying, I have, first time in my life, I have a lot of time because we don't have patients. They've all been removed to the United States of America. How stupid is this? And it's forget about good politics. It has to be the worst politics, but how can we do that? How can we let this happen? And no country can afford this. And you're seeing the signs of it already. And you look at some of these areas and some of the crime areas, and some of these people are staying in luxury hotels paid for by cities, luxury hotels, and yet our great veterans are sleeping on the streets with no benefits. Okay, so explain this. These people are being treated, they're given cell phones and they're given treatment. People are greeting them off the bus. You ever watch the guys? Hello, welcome, welcome. And you have friends, I'm sure you do, I do. They say, is there anything you can do to help me? I've been working 12 years to become a citizen, and they're taking tests and everything else. And every once in a while, I'll say, listen, I have an idea. Walk over to the southern border and just come right in. You work in 12 years. You can do it in one day. It's terrible. No, it's a terrible thing. And you have people that take it very seriously, and they work very hard, and they come in legally. And we want to have people come in, but they have to come in legally. Following the Eisenhower model, Eisenhower was very tough on immigration. We'll use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation of criminals, of very tough, these are hardened, many of them, hardened criminals. We're going to get them out of our country fast. The Biden border crisis is also a drug and fentanyl crisis under my administration. We reduced drug overdose deaths in New Hampshire by 18%. Now, that's good, but we can do better. But, we set up these blue ribbon committees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce a blue ribbon committee with you. Everybody wants to be on the committee, but, they don't get a lot done. The thing that gets it done is the death penalty for drug dealers. Other than that, you're just wasting your time. The committee is headed up by our great First Lady, Melania Trump. Thank you very much, everybody. No, people like her. But they do love her. They do love her, and she says hello to everybody. She loves this state. But think of this. A blue ribbon committee. We have a lot of socialites, a lot of dilettantes, a lot of politically connected. They all want to be in the committee, but they don't. It's not their thing. When I was in China, I said to President Xi, he's tough. I said, President, do you have a drug problem? No. Looked at me like, what the hell kind of a stupid question is this? I said, how come you don't have, we give death penalty immediately, quick trial. I said, what the hell is a quick trial? Quick trial, I figured it out pretty quick. It means quick, it means fast. Well, I gave quick trial, and we execute drug dealers. And China used to have, 150 years ago, tremendous, they were taken over by smaller nations, including Japan and other places, because they were all drugged out, the opium, and they were all drugged out. And along came some very tough people, and they said, we can't have this. And they don't have a drug problem at all. They cause drug problems for us because they send in fentanyl. They make the fentanyl. And they would have ended that, too. I had to deal with him, though. He wasn't going to do it. He was going to make that a criminal offense to make it. But once I got out, nobody followed that up. He would have done it, too. He would have made it a criminal offense. He was prepared to do it. I will destroy the cartels just as we destroyed the ISIS caliphate, 100% of ISIS. When I came in, they said, you won't be able to do it. I said, yes, I will. And we destroyed it in a very short period of time. We had some great generals. Not all of them are like the television guys, the guys you see on television. They are not the best. I will deploy the U.S. Navy to impose a full naval embargo on cartel trafficking. And New Hampshire in particular, you have a drug problem that's unbelievable, because I go to different states, and some have, and many have it, but I don't think there's anyone that has more severe drug problems than New Hampshire. So we have to get your governor to get a little bit more active on that, because that's a bad thing. That's really hurting. It's really hurting your state. I think that per capita, New Hampshire is just about the worst in the country, just about. It's right up there. It's very, and your firemen and your policemen do an incredible job. They do unbelievable, because that's like a new job. No, we have to have him get much tougher. I will immediately sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. As I said, I will keep men out of women's sports, and I will sign a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. Can you believe it? No, can you believe you have to say that? I'm going to sign a law to prohibit child sexual mutilation. Can you imagine saying that 15 years ago? People would look around, what's he talking about? That's taking place in our country. It's insane what's going on. In addition, I'll not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or mask mandate from kindergarten through college. And just as I did for 4 years, I will fully protect and uphold your Second Amendment. I did a job. That wasn't easy. That wasn't easy. And nobody did better at this, because I got Roe v. Wade ended. I will defend innocent life. Nobody thought that was possible. I will bring back free speech in America. We will bring it back. I'd like to say I'd bring back a fair and free and open press, but that's probably harder than anything else. These people, they're indoctrinated. There's something wrong. They used to be like the policemen of our country in a sense. Now they're vicious on one side and on the other side. And it doesn't make sense, because all of the things that the other group is espousing are just so terrible. I mean, the concept of open borders and all of the things that they want. A woke military. I rebuilt our entire military. Woke. It's very woke. At least at the top levels. I think it's not taking on too well with the soldiers. That's one of the reasons they can't recruit, because they're asking questions. These guys are looking, they're saying, and women, they're looking at them, they're saying, what the hell kind of questions are they asking me? And it's turning them off, and they're not signing up. Our military is having a hard time signing people. This is what we must do to restore our country to greatness. The USA is a mess. Our economy is crashing. Inflation is out of control. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea have formed together as a menacing and destructive coalition. Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard. The way it's going, we're going to lose our currency as the world standard, which will be the single greatest defeat for this country in 200 years. That will be catastrophe. It won't happen with me, not even a chance. Just like Russia would never have invaded Ukraine and China would not have even thought about Taiwan, as I said. If you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would have never done the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. Nobody's done damage to this country like this. Our country is a failing nation. We are a failing nation. We're a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections again by using law enforcement this time. The other's going to be harder to do. So they want to use corrupt law enforcement. It's totally crazy what's going on. Our country has such a chance and such an opportunity. I don't believe it can survive another 4 years. I think surviving for another short period of time, another year, is very tough. It's going so bad so fast. What they're doing to our country is so sad. You see what they're proposing. Let's build a windmill on every farm. Let's build everything. I mean, you have to see these fields. They're like junkyards, windmills all over the place. Windmill, most expensive energy anywhere in the world by far. They're all made in China, a little bit in Germany, but all in China. And you look at some of these fields, and your energy costs are zooming. They're going through the roof. It's so destructive. All electric everything. Now they want to take away your gas stoves. Does anybody like gas better? You cook a lot more than I do. Because I have a lot of friends that are really into the cooking thing, and they say gas is better. So, but they want to take it away. They want to take away your washing machines and your dryers. They don't want to give you any water for the washing machine. Even though you have so much water, you don't know what the hell to do with it up here. It flows out into the ocean. But this is the final battle. This is really the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the sick, crazy warmongers. They are warmongers from our government. And by the way, peace through strength. Don't forget, I built the greatest military in the world. New jets, new everything. Everything was great. Then they gave $85 billion of it away, but even that's peanuts compared to what we did. I gave Ukraine the anti-tank missiles that they shot, called javelins. Obama gave them sheets. You know, they say, oh, Trump was very nice, or I was the one that said about Russia, you're not going to build the pipeline. I stopped the pipeline. When Biden came in, he came in and he said, yes, they can build the pipeline, going to Germany and all parts of Europe. And nobody was tougher on Russia. Nobody was tougher on China. And yet I got along with them. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we wouldn't have had a world war, and we wouldn't have had these other wars, and we wouldn't have had the conflict. And we could very well end up in a world war. And this would be a nuclear war, a war the likes of which, this is not 2 army tanks running around shooting at each other. These are weapons that are so powerful. That's why our country right now is in the most dangerous time in the history of our country, but in the history of the world, because of the power of the weaponry. And we have a man who's grossly incompetent as the head of the United States of America, which could lead all other countries. I led all other countries. Some of them liked me, some of them didn't. But we were the boss. I led the countries. We have none of that now. They go for trips to Saudi Arabia, where he needs something. You know what he needs? Oil, because he refuses to take it from under our feet. And he gives a fist bump to the future king of Saudi Arabia, who happens to be a wonderful person. You know what a fist bump is? That's, don't shake my hand because your hand is dirty. That was greatly insulting. He travels for 20 hours on Air Force One, spewing lots of fumes if you're into that world. And he gives a fist bump to the future king of Saudi Arabia. In other words, he insulted, and he got nothing. But these are people that are stupid people that are leading us. These are people that don't know what's happening. And these are people that have put us in the most dangerous position in the history of the world right now because of the power of weaponry. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, the Marxists, the fascists, and we have them in our country. That's what's doing all of this stuff with the Department of Justice and with the FBI. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country, and we will rout the fake news media. We have no choice because they're not doing it themselves. We will defeat Joe Biden, and we will drain the swamp once and for all. And just in conclusion, I say that the great silent majority is rising like never before. It's a great, great silent majority. And under our leadership, the forgotten men and women will be forgotten no longer. So with your help and your love and your vote, we will win New Hampshire and we will make America great again, greater than ever before. So God bless you. God bless everyone. God bless New Hampshire, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Wooden tables, I know nothing's mine. No, nothing's mine. In the flash of the instant, the sparkle in your eyes, it burned away time, burned away time. Now when you light me, I turn to fire. When we make love, you take me higher. You know I'd like to hold you and never let you go. Darling, let me do just so. Sitting in the shower for hours and hours, we pay it no mind. No, we don't mind losing track of the time as we talk about all sorts of things that don't matter. No, they don't matter. We opened our spirits, planned our escape to a faraway place, to life's embrace. Now when you light me, I turn to fire. When we make love, you take me higher. You know I'd like to hold you and never let you go. Darling, let me do just so. You can't judge our book by how its cover looks. You try to force me into something that scars me. Still, I can't put words to why it didn't work. I guess sometimes honesty just hurts. Now when you light me, I turn to fire. When we make love, you take me higher. You know I'd like to hold you and never let you go. Darling, let me do just so.
Mr. Commander.